The first inductee to the 2010 Connecticut Recreation and Parks Association Hall of Fame is Frederick Law Olmsted. Known as the father of landscape architecture in the United States, Frederick Law Olmsted was one of the true visionaries in park design. Olmsted was born in Hartford, Connecticut in 1822. He was a member of the 8th generation of his family to live in that city. His mother died when he was 4, and from the age of 7 he received his schooling mostly from ministers in outlying towns with whom he lived. His father, a successful dry goods merchant, was a lover of scenery, and much of Olmsted's vacation time was spent with his family on tours in search of the picturesque throughout northern New England and upstate New York. As he was about to enter Yale College in 1837, Olmsted suffered severe sumac poisoning, which weakened his eyes and kept him from the usual course of studies. Between 1837 and 1857, Olmsted performed a variety of jobs, including clerk, a sailor in the China trade, a farmer, engineer, social philosopher, and reluctant politician. Olmsted utilized his experiences and skills from his endeavors to create the profession of landscape architecture. He moved to New York in 1848, and in 1857, without having ever had any college education, Olmsted became the superintendent of New York's Central Park. Olmsted's designs number in the thousands and include New York's Central Park, the Boston Park System, the United States Capitol grounds, and the Connecticut State House. Olmsted's visions and designs uniquely combined pastoral meadows with the rugged picturesque, all while providing escape from the sterility of the surrounding urban environments. In 1870, Frederick Law Olmsted designed Walnut Hill Park in New Britain, Connecticut. This park is especially significant in that it was one of the first parks to be designed by Olmsted after his success at Central Park in New York City. Walnut Hill Park in New Britain, Connecticut is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, one of only 5 parks in Connecticut so honored. The only color rendering of Walnut Hill Park, to our knowledge, is hanging in the New Britain Parks and Recreation Department's office. Throughout his career, Olmsted emphasized the importance of collaboration with professionals in other disciplines, especially engineers, horticulturalists, and architects. During his career, Olmsted and his firm carried out some 500 commissions. They include 100 public parks and recreation grounds, 200 private estates, 50 residential communities, subdivisions, and campus designs for 40 academic institutions. Olmsted's work in Connecticut include Walnut Hill Park in New Britain, Beardsley Park and Seaside Park in Bridgeport, and the Institute of Living in Hartford. Olmsted married Mary Cleveland, the widow of his brother. Olmsted adopted his wife's 3 sons. In addition, they had 2 children, a daughter and a son, Frederick Law Olmsted, Jr. It was his son who went on to draft the legislation that founded the National Park Service. Olmsted died on August 28, 1903, and was buried in the Old North Cemetery in Hartford, Connecticut. Olmsted's home and office, located in Brookline, Massachusetts, were purchased by the National Park Service and opened to the public as a museum. His papers are now housed in the Library of Congress, while the Olmsted National Historic Site preserves the drawings and plans for much of Olmsted and his firm's body of work. It is for all these reasons that Frederick Law Olmsted is a CRPA 2010 Hall of Fame inductee. The second inductee for the 2010 Connecticut Recreation and Parks Association Hall of Fame is Harold Behrens. Harold's involvement in Parks and Recreation transcends several communities, the National Recreation and Parks Association, and our own Connecticut Recreation and Parks Association. Harold was born on February 7, 1940, and was the son of Harold and Lillian Behrens. Harold attended Massapequa High School in Long Island, New York, and State University of New York College at Cortland, where he received his BS in Recreation. He then went on to get his master's degree in Parks and Recreation Administration at Indiana University. Mr. Behrens' professional career began in the town of Windsor as Director of Parks and Recreation from 1963 until 1966. Harold was then fortunate enough to be selected as the Superintendent of Parks and Recreation for the town of Newington from 1966 to 1971. Harold is noted in Newington for the consolidation of school grounds in the Park Maintenance Division and for starting the first Newington Youth Council. Some might think that Harold couldn't keep a job, but that was not the case. Mr. Behrens' commitment to Parks and Recreation provided him opportunities in several communities. Harold loved the challenges presented with each opportunity, and with each new position came the enthusiasm and excitement of a young graduating student. He continued and ended his municipal career as Director of Parks and Recreation for the town of Bloomfield, retiring from there in 1998. During his 27 years in Bloomfield, Harold was responsible for building playgrounds, developing a comprehensive recreation program, and managing a budget of well over $1 million. Harold brought in millions of dollars in grant funds for open space and recreation facility development. He opened the first community center and renovated the 50-meter outdoor pool. Harold also worked with Cigna on the Sunset Sounds concert series that brought in national entertainment. He was honored by the town when they named the Bloomfield Press Box after him. Mr. Behrens was not done when he retired. Harold kept active in the profession and contributed to the Connecticut Trail Advisory Board, where he was appointed by the DEP Commissioner. Harold wanted to give back to our young people, and in 2002 he became an adjunct professor at Northwestern Community College, teaching various recreation management classes, where he continues to teach to this day. Harold's professional commitment is long-standing. No one has done more for the profession than Harold. Mr. Behrens has held a multitude of significant positions, including President of CRPA, Chairman of the New England Regional Council, Board of Directors for the American Park and Recreation Society, and Director of the National Recreation and Parks Association Board of Trustees. The Trustees is the highest level of service that a professional can contribute to. Harold has volunteered on almost every CRPA and NRPA committee and has received numerous awards from these associations. Harold is most proud of his family, including his wonderful wife Barbara and two lovely children, Jeff and Jennifer. Harold is respected and loved by all that come in contact with him. He is the ultimate professional with a can-do attitude and a refreshing common-sense approach. Everyone has a funny story about Harold. We encourage everyone in the listening audience to recall and share those stories with Harold later. It is for all these reasons that Harold Behrens is a CRPA 2010 Hall of Fame inductee.